Hello everybody! I am so excited to announce the AlcohoLix's Mixes 2.0 update. This update has changed quite a few things in the system, enough to where I literally have to make a new setup tutorial, but don't worry, everything has been made easier. I should also note that if you are upgrading from the 1.2 version of the system, you will need to completely delete the original system from your world before you can implement this new one. But let's get right into the setup. I expect that you've probably already bought my system and you've probably downloaded the Unity package, as well as probably the simple setup and in-depth setup PDFs. What I'm going over in this video is this simple setup PDF right here. So let's head over to our Unity scene. I have this completely fresh Unity scene right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import my AlcohoLix's Mixes 2.0 Unity package. Import process might take a little while, but don't worry about it. Just wait until a new screen pops up. Once this little Unity import package thing pops up, you can just click on import. After your Unity package has imported, you should see this new AlcohoLix's folder on top of your asset folders. This means that everything should have imported correctly. The next thing we need to do is we can go up here to Tools and AlcohoLix's and Bartending Installer. Click on this and this whole new window will pop up. This is where most of the setup for your system will be done. I've simplified everything and automated everything so things can be as easy for you as possible. The first things you can select here are what do you actually want to spawn into your world. By default, I've selected pretty much everything that you would need for a bar world. So that is everything else except for the potion bottles. If you want to use the potion bottles, you can import them as well, but I'm just gonna leave them off. For things such as the shakers, straws, and drink glasses, you can change how many of them you want to import. But I'm just gonna leave the default values on for here. Next up is tablet appearance. This is the recipe tablet. This will be your central hub for a lot of your bartending system things. For example, respawning bottles or glasses, or disabling the system, or a place where players can find different recipes. In this appearance section, you can change the accent color of the tablet to match whatever color you want to have in your world. I'm gonna move it to be this pinkish color right here. Next up, post-processing. If your world doesn't have any post-processing setup, all you need to do is you need to drag in your main camera from your scene into this scene camera right here. This will automatically set up post-processing in your main camera and in your world. If your world already has post-processing, you can just click on this little checkbox right here. And after that, you need to select which layer your post-processing is on. But I'm gonna leave this unchecked because I don't have any post-processing in my scene yet. Next up is gravity. Do you want your bottles and your glasses to fall down when players drop them, or are you okay with them floating in the air? If you want to have gravity, you can put this on and it'll automatically apply gravity to the bottles and the glasses. I'm gonna leave this setting off as well. Next up is transparent liquids. Now, my system wasn't originally built with transparent liquids in mind, but I figured out that you can actually have transparency in my liquids. That doesn't mean that that transparency actually works well. There might be some problems with things like flickering or the liquids just looking a little weird on Quest, which is why by default it's off. I'm gonna put it on for just this test, just to kind of show what they might look like on PC. And lastly, there's the effect settings. Always trigger effects means that effects will always happen when you drink a liquid. By default with my alcohol system, the effects have a chance of happening. For example, you might have a 10% chance of going blackout. And the idea is that if you mix different liquids together, your chances will get higher and higher. So eventually you will have a 100% chance of that blackout effect happening. But obviously some players might want to always have those effects happen. So if you want your effects to always trigger when a player drinks your liquid, you can put this on. And that means that at least one effect will always happen when a player drinks a liquid. I'm gonna leave it on here as well, just for our testing purposes. Then there's enable effects. If you don't want any effects in your system at all, you can just check this off and there will not be any effects at all in the system. I'm gonna leave this on because I do want effects. Then there's teleport effects. In the alcohol bottles, there is one effect which will cause the player to teleport when they drink it. And that is the complete blackout effect. The idea for the complete blackout is that you drink too much, so your hearing goes funny and your vision goes black and suddenly you wake up in a whole new place. But I can understand how some users might not want any teleporting effects in their world at all. And if you're one of those people, you can just disable this and there will not be any teleport effects in your world. And lastly, audio effects. Audio effects have been the most problematic with my system. I've gotten a lot of reports of players having really weird, muffled, or just odd sounding audio in their world. And this is due to how VRChat handles audio filters. Sadly, there isn't really a lot of ways I could actually fix this problem. I've narrowed the problem down to using a lot of different systems which also mess with audio filters. For example, if you're using Pro TV, you cannot use the audio effects in my system. As a rule of thumb, I would say that if you're using any kind of other system to mess with your player's audio in your world, you should leave these audio effects off. But don't worry, if you do disable these audio effects, there will be alternative audio effects. Those ones will not rely on audio filters, but instead will play an audio clip to your player's ears. They are not as fun as audio filters, obviously, but at least it's better than nothing. And if you want to test what the alternative audio effects sound like, you can go to my Bartending test world, which is up on VRChat. Just make sure to have your world audio turned up for them. I'm gonna put all of these effect checkboxes on, and then I'm going to spawn my bartending system. When spawning in your system, you probably get this pop-up about Text Mesh Pro Essentials, and you should just click on the Import TMP Essentials button right here. After that, you can just close this, and you can move your bartending installer wherever you want. And in your scene, you should now see your bartending system. In your hierarchy, you should also have this new AlcohoLix's mixes game object. And expanding that will show where all of these different bartending system related objects are actually set. One important thing I want to mention is that you should not rename this AlcohoLix's mixes game object to anything. This is in case you want to import this system again. So let's say you want to change the amount of glasses in your scene. If you haven't renamed this game object to anything, when you spawn a new bartending system, it'll delete the old one and it'll import a new one with the correct new settings that you've applied. But if you change anything in this name and then try to import the system again with different settings, well, now you've spawned a whole new system into your scene. And you should not have multiple instances of my system in the same world. Just make sure that you always keep this AlcohoLix's mixes game object with this specific name. Next up, if you decided to actually use the teleport effects, we need to do one simple setup for those. What I need you to do is go into the AlcohoLix's mixes, player head, finished effects, and teleport effects for blackout. And if you're using the potion bottles, also the teleport effect itself. These teleport spots are where your player will teleport once the effect has triggered. So for the teleport effect for blackout, you can move this empty game object to wherever in your scene you want the player to teleport once they have blacked out. And the blue arrow shows the direction in which the player will face once they have teleported. And if you're using the potion bottles, you should do the same for all of these teleport spots. Everything should now be set up in your world. So the last thing to do would be to test the system. So let's head into play mode. The first thing you'll notice is that you'll get this error message about an audio listener, and you'll probably start getting a lot of different messages about there being 2 audio listeners in your scene. You don't need to worry about those. Those will have no effect on your system. Those are there because of the audio effects we are using. The second thing you might notice if you're using the transparent liquids is that the bottles look a little empty. This isn't cause for concern either, because if you actually look at your game view, the bottles have liquid inside them. This is one of the things I mean when I say that the transparent liquids are a little weird. But now we can just move around our bottles and kind of test that everything's working. Pour out liquids, and we can try to actually use one of our effects. Oh yeah, our effects are working. You can see how blurry my vision got. Another thing you can test is you can try picking up some of these garnishes and you can attach them to your glass. And then lastly, let's put on our straw and see that it follows our player's head. And then let's try filling a glass with some drink. And then let's try drinking it. Yes, that's working as well. Perfect. Everything seems to be working as it should. So we can exit play mode. You can build and publish your world. For those who have used the previous version of my world, you might also remember that when publishing, you needed to do this vision effect manager swap. But with this 2.0 version, you do not need to do that anymore. Because once we actually swap platforms from Windows to Android, this change has been done automatically. So you won't have to worry about accidentally uploading with the wrong version anymore. But with that, I believe we talked about everything important in regards to setting up the AlcohoLix's mixes bartending system in your world. If you have any questions or you need any help, you can join my Discord server, where I'm happy to help anyone. You can also leave bug reports or suggest any new features you might want to see in the system itself. And if you're looking to customize things even further, maybe make your own alcohols or your own glasses, I do have the in-depth setup guide right here, and I can personally also help with that as well. I really hope you'll enjoy using my system, and if you happen to use it in your world, I would love to check it out, so make sure to send me a link. But with that, happy mixing and bye-bye!